Hello, welcome. I believe everything is working, and alright. So, welcome into today's live stream for Monday, April 25th, 2022. Let's see, do we have anyone in here yet? Alright, it looks like we are a couple streams in. I think this is our third or fourth stream, and we still have nobody here, but that's okay. I'm still going to do this anyway. Alright, so let's check out the news since we have no one here who wants to get their site reviewed for free. And starting off, looks like we have digital marketing strategy. Rare digital marketing tips to attract the right talent. Local brand advisor. Let's see if there's anything. Here we go. Why SEO is a must use digital marketing strategy. This looks like it comes from this morning, 12:50 a.m. Eastern. Let's see. Alright, so yeah, with SEO you target the right customers. There is one thing I see a lot as one thing you can check in your analytics is that you'll see an increase in traffic and usually an increase in your bounce rate, because as you target sort of wider, more broad idea key terms, you're going to get people who aren't necessarily looking to buy from you, and so they're going to come to your site and they're going to say, oh, I don't really want this, and they're going to leave. So that's actually okay. Bounce rate increasing is actually okay if your traffic increases. Sorry, just take a sip of coffee. But if your traffic decreases, you want to make sure that your bounce rate is lowering as well. So, and the reason for that is what you're starting to do is you're starting to pre-qualify your traffic. So you're getting fewer people to your site, but you're getting more people who are more likely to buy. So your conversion rates may not increase right away, but you should eventually see an increase in conversion rates as you see the drop in traffic and the drop in your bounce rate. Now in analytics, if your bounce rate goes down, the green arrow is actually going to point up, because that's a good thing. So that inverse sort of property of bounce rate to either good or bad, sort of up or down, it sort of confuses some people. So that, just wanted to clarify that real quick. All right, so it improves your ranking. I mean, we know this. Let me see what it says here with the 75%. Search engine ranking, 75% of consumers never scroll past the first page of results. So yeah, people say rankings don't matter, they're not the end-all be-all. I completely agree about them not being the end-all be-all. I know if I'm looking to buy stuff, sometimes I go straight to Amazon. Sometimes I go straight to Walmart.com. One thing about Walmart I know is that they actually kind of work like Amazon in a way that you can actually sell on Walmart as well. So if you're interested in omni-channel marketing and getting just off your website, you can also sell your products on Amazon. Some people don't want to do that because of the amount of money they take and stuff like that. There's also Walmart.com. And there are other omni-channel strategies that we can definitely help get you into. In fact, we are omni-channel certified through BigCommerce, so we can definitely help you with that. But outside of that, if people are searching on Google for something, you definitely want to be on page 1. So they're talking about Orange County SEO. This actually this is a really cringe. How much you want to bet they're in Orange County? Okay, so it looks like this company, Daily Bayonet, either wrote this article or they have some type of backlink deal with um, True North Social, and they're an Orange County brand. This is a really cringe sort of application of a link, of a backlink, because one of the reasons you should prioritize the best Orange County SEO practices, that makes, obviously, if you don't live in Orange County, how many of you watching this, if any, live in Orange County? Probably not many, but they figured this is the best place to put in Orange County practices. They probably wanted to put it pretty high up in the content so that Google gives it some quality. Um, this is an example of how not to do um, a, a backlink. If I were the Truth Social company, True North Social, I would probably tell them they need to fix this, or if they are truly a marketing company themselves, they should have a copywriter who can come and fix this copy real quick, or even provide them a sentence to fix it. Um, all right. Long-term strategy for achieving organic traffic. I mean, one of the biggest reasons why SEO is so hard, and it's getting more and more expensive, not in the fact that um, the hourly sort of rates that people are putting in, because even if an SEO company doesn't charge you hourly, their rates are based upon sort of how long it takes them. And it's taking longer and longer because you have to do more and more. You have to do more research, more in-depth research, more competitor research. You have to do more keyword research. You have to do basically more research than ever before. And then on top of that, once you create the title tags, create the meta descriptions, create the content and all that stuff, and content's its own beast. But once you create the title tags and meta descriptions, then you have to analyze the data, and you have for every single page that you have optimized, and then you need to ask yourself, is this working? And where it works, great. And where it doesn't work, then you need to go back in and change it. And one of the reasons for that, and also the content is getting, it's harder and harder to write quality content that Google likes. You could write the best content ever, but if it's not optimized correctly, and if it's just targeting the wrong too high competition keywords, it's never going to work. And the reason is because people have gotten in on the ground floor for a lot of the broader niches that are going to bring in more money, and that's causing the competition to be more. So the reason why the research is costing more and the SEO is costing more than ever before is because part of it is making sure that you're targeting the most appropriate keywords, um, so that the time that you're spending on all these blogs and this content, and optimizing your product pages and all that stuff doesn't go to waste because you targeted too highly competitive of keywords. And part of that comes from the fact that uh, it is a long-term strategy. So once you're in, yes, you gotta have to keep updating it, but it's the best sort of long-term um, strategy for achieving organic traffic. There are other ways to achieve organic traffic, like backlinks and stuff like that, um, but those aren't necessary. I mean, you got to be careful with your backlinks. You want to always be checking them. I'd say at least every couple months, because there could be companies that go out of business, and then that's a 404 pointing to your page or something like that. So you want to double check. Or what some tricky people will do is they'll set up like a backlink partnership with you, right? So you'll say, hey, I will post a link to your page if you post a link to this page and use this anchor text and all that. And they'll leave it up for like 3 to 6 months, and then they'll take it down, so that their site doesn't have that external link pointing to you. Because to make that site, or they'll switch it with someone else who has higher domain authority than you, so that they get more credit from that backlink. So you want to always be checking your backlinks. It improves your credibility. Again, that's really what you're aiming for with anything. It just happens to be called search engine optimization. It really should be called building trust, because with your or Google is in the business of putting the most trustworthy sites, the most customer friendly sites in front of people. Because the biggest issue is if you were shopping on Google all the time, and all these companies that popped up on page one, they kept scamming you that no one was there. Uh, if there was a shipping issue or if something got broken or damaged during shipping, no one would be using Google anymore. They would just go straight to Amazon or something like that. So Google is in the business of putting the most customer-friendly websites in front of people. And the way Google does that is they make sure that they put websites in front of people that have optimized title tags, optimized meta descriptions. Well, the meta descriptions isn't really a ranking factor, it's more of a click-through rate factor, but I can get to that later, and I've talked about it at like great length previously, and we have blogs on it and everything. And then the content. Content is hard, content is complicated, and doing it right takes time, and you're not going to take that time if you're trying to scam people. So that's the idea behind Google's algorithm, basically, is the more you optimize your site for a key term, the more you're telling Google that you're willing to spend time on your website. And that's really the only metric that Google has to determine whether or not you're a trustworthy site. So yes, you're building your credit. Let's see what they do here for customers. They have a... Is this okay? So this is their own site. I don't know why they have just the word customers as an internal link. It goes to this page about software studies, your customers, CRM software studies, your customers to help your roofing business grow. What? Is this an AI? Is all the content on this website AI related? Or created? Look, phone. Phone. They literally, how to deal with harassment by phone. I mean, I guess that's like you're just trying to get anything with phone in here because harassment wouldn't like work. But all right. So, anyways, it is a cost-effective marketing strategy. Search engine optimization is an affordable yet effective way of advertising. The higher your website ranks on search engines, the more people are likely to click on it. Okay, the reason why it's more cost-effective, it may not seem like it, especially as I tout that now it's more and more difficult than ever to rank, and you have to spend more time, which in essence means a higher budget. That is basically until it's optimized. Once it's optimized, then you kind of can drop down into a maintenance mode. And generally, we do 5 hours a month for maintenance mode. So it's about $500 for us to just kind of run your rankings, track your rankings, check your analytics, make sure things are working well, and create a report for you and be in touch and all that stuff, and develop a plan for the next month if there are any issues. And then when we have our meetings with people at the end of the month or at the beginning of the following month, I can run all that by them. And then I can say, this is what I saw based on your monthly maintenance. And then if you want to, you can approve this many hours of work to fix these issues and things like that. So, yes, you're going to pay. You pay quite a bit up front, but then it's basically just maintenance mode. And then also, it's still considered kind of maintenance mode when you're creating blogs and stuff like that, maybe twice a week. Because what you would be doing is part of kind of like the the initial SEO implementation stuff, if you wanted us to create a blog strategy for you, that would be considered part of that. And then you just have your content calendar basically created. And we could create one for 6 months. We could create one for a whole year. It basically depends and the longer of a content calendar you want, obviously the longer that's going to take. So you have to do research from the previous year's data of what was searched and things like that, and kind of analyze industry trends, and do research, and we sort of become a little bit more industry experts ourselves so that we can anticipate what people are going to search and when. And that's one of the best things you can really do, is put content out before people get there. And then even if you have your content calendar set up and something comes up that's really popular and big in your industry that people should know, then we can slide it in, and we can maybe tack something onto the end, or we can eliminate something that you think it isn't as big, and we could change things around, whatever. So it does end up being more cost effective, because getting all that done up front, having your content calendar, having your website optimized and basically being in maintenance mode, that makes it so you have to do less work monthly, or when you don't have to do the research to figure out what you want to write your blog about and things like that. So the content calendar is and as you're writing for, say I'm writing a blog for someone for this month, and I realize, oh, there's actually something sort of related to here that I can mention in a blog in, say, 3 months. I can even start that Google Doc. I can even start a Google Doc for each of the blogs that are going to be coming out, and just put a link from the article in there with some little notes or something like that. So anyway, it is the most cost-effective marketing strategy in the long run. Because ads, you're paying a lot the whole way through, no matter what. Amazon, you're paying a lot the whole way through, no matter what. Affiliate marketing, you're paying a lot the whole way through, no matter what. So the punchline, SEO is an inevitable digital marketing strategy. It is a cost-effective digital marketing strategy that improves your website's credibility and drives high-quality traffic in the long run. For the most part, this was a pretty good article. Nice, concise, got some tips. That's kind of how we like to write our stuff. Unfortunately, we aren't getting the type of backlinks they're getting, so a lot of our articles aren't getting the same traction. So, like, check this out. So, I wrote this one. The last one I really had time to write a blog for us, is why you want to start your holiday 2022 sort of SEO marketing. So I basically have an intro, an image that has the image alt attribute you can see right here, and then just a little blurb, adjust with numbers, and then bam. So it's basically the same kind of as what they did, but I made it a little bit more. Start optimizing and stocking earlier. Make sure you stock your e-commerce store, and prepare for increased digital. So maybe you don't really care about these, but you care about this. You can read the headline, and then these go to internal links, and there you go. So, and then obviously I put our contacts down here. But we're service-based, so our blog strategy is a little bit different than people who are going to be e-commerce based. Alright, so let's see, let's get rid of these. And let's go back to Google and see if there's anything. Let's just type in SEO now. See what comes up. Technical SEO. B2B. Is Google search worse? The content so bad, or is the algorithm to blame? Alright, let's just do the first one then. Let's do, from 3 days ago, search engine land. 4 technical SEO tasks that are critical to organic success. Optimize site architecture. So this basically means that, um, so let's use our website for an example, right? So we have our digital marketing category. Architecture, site architecture is like your categories and subcategories. So under digital marketing, we have search engine optimization, PPC, video marketing, email marketing, but we don't have SEO and video marketing under website and development. So Google knows that so it's going to crawl from the top down. So it's the home page, and then it helps have. So we're kind of telling on our homepage, we're kind of telling Google that we are an e-commerce web design company, mostly, um, and and then we have AZ Digital Marketing because we're located in Arizona, and so we have our web design company and our digital marketing, and they're telling Google that. And then we have all of our content, which has our web design and marketing first. And then we are BigCommerce experts. Most of the websites we work on are on BigCommerce, even though we can handle pretty much anything. Um, so these are the big wants of most of our clients. So we have that. And then pay-per-click advertising we also have. And then a video here. And then you can contact us with a little tagline. And then how we are different. This is sort of how we try to gain people's trust, to let people know that we are different than most other companies. One thing I get a lot on sales calls is people like, well, our SEO company was charging us X amount and I never heard from them. Well, the only time, I mean, you will never not hear from me, but for the most part, I will only contact you a couple times a month, unless I need something from you guys. If I don't hear from you, a lot of people don't want to schedule calls or anything like that. They're fine just getting a report, or if things are going well, they don't even want me to they'd rather me spend that hour that it would take to get the report together on doing SEO for them, so I do that. We're pretty flexible with that. So these are some of our trusted platform partners. Klaviyo is the email service. Sales and Orders is a feed management system for Google Shopping. And then a couple websites we've worked on. And then there we go. We have the end right here. All right. So, but with underneath, so the homepage that's kind of what we're telling Google what we are, and even the headline here: design, development, marketing. That's what we do. We do design, we do development, we do marketing. We are a creative e-commerce design agency. I may clean this up a bit, to be honest. And then under web design and development, so we have our platforms that we can do web design on. We have the types of design that we can do, and then development doesn't really require subcategories. It's just kind of, I mean, if you have development, people contact us for development, and then we go through it more with them. And for BigCommerce, we have all of our BigCommerce stuff on here specifically. So we do have BigCommerce Stencil. We do have SEO for BigCommerce, but the reason and that's the only thing from digital marketing that's in another category, and that is because it talks specifically how BigCommerce is an SEO friendly platform. You don't need to know coding, other services that it offers, and then we do mention quickly the types of SEO. And this URL was ranking the most for what is SEO as opposed to this one. So that's why I moved all of this content over to here. And so then we just go into more SEO details so that, and then our basic homepage optimization, if you just wanted to get your homepage optimized, it's $200. We do our keyword research and our competitor research. We see where you're currently ranking as the competitor research input. 30-minute phone consultation. Generally, I mean, that's just kind of there. We generally do more than 30 minutes. It could, I mean, we've spent like 2 hours before on something like this. So between several phone calls, getting started, updates, things like that. Optimization of title tags, meta descriptions, content creation optimization, and then implementation within your site's homepage. That is something that we offer. Just if you wanted to get your homepage done and not do a plan or anything. But anyways, as you can see, so we have what's for BigCommerce under the BigCommerce. The other more broad digital marketing is under there. And we have all of our portfolios. We don't have digital marketing services over here. We don't have BigCommerce stuff under the digital marketing. It's all under the BigCommerce. So It's all where it should. That's where you want your site, how you want your site architecture to work. If you don't want your women's clothing in men's, or you don't want all of the clothing in just one. Like if you have clothing, you don't just want shirts as a category, pants as a category. I mean, you could, I guess, have it as a main category, but then you would want subcategories of men's, women's, kids, etc. Um, but generally, what you'd probably want is men. And this is actually what keyword research would tell you. Whether you wanted just clothing altogether, or whether you want men's clothing and then men's shirts, if you wanted to do it that way. What we would generally do in that case is we would Google a lot of the key, like say we would Google men's shirts. I know that's super broad. Yours would probably have something like men's work shirts or something like that. You Google that and you figure out what are these people on page one doing. Do they have it all under work shirts and then men, women? I guess maybe children wouldn't have that. Or like summer clothing or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that you can do your site architecture based upon the kind of products that you have. But you want to make sure that your site architecture is generally they're not the same, but most have a logical flow with a hierarchy of pages. So, and that's not only important for Google, that's important for the users. It lets them know, like if they go to digital marketing, if they're interested in digital marketing but they're not on BigCommerce, they're not going to come over here. So if I had PPC under BigCommerce and not under digital marketing, they would never even see that page. So it's great for users and for Google. So ensure pages are crawlable. So this is another technical factor that you want to make sure that you don't get a lot of them have 404, but also your robots.txt files can be blocking pages. And so that's why you want to check in Search Console and make sure that because Search Console will actually tell you if a page is being indexed but is blocked by robots.txt, but you can also just check the robots.txt by itself to make sure that no pages are on there that you want to be indexed. And then 404s are okay for your site. Anyone who tells you 404s are not okay doesn't know what they're talking about. However, if you have they have this misplaced disallowed directive, say that ends up going to a 404, that's considered a broken link and that is bad. You don't have to do anything with that 404 page, but you do want to remove this link. So that is a technical factor. I don't know if they're going to be talking about that later, but because that could be something more down here. Because we're not actually changing the actual 404, and that's what this one would be referring to. But you could also redirect a 404. Say you have several products, and you have several product pages for those products, as opposed to using options. So if you had, say you had I don't know, dog treats, and you had a page that was ranking really well for chicken dog treats, and then you had a couple products that like different size bags or tubs or whatever, and one of those was ranking really well. You wouldn't want to just leave that as a 404 if you sold out of it. Or even, I mean, so what you could, there's a couple things you could do. You could leave that page live and say, we are all sold out of this, but you can check out this exact same product, just in a different sort of volume here, and have a link that points to that, and obviously you'd put like some keywords in that internal link. Or you could do a 301 redirect to the other product, so that when people are on Google and they click it, it'll take them right to there, and on there you can say something like, we got it, and in the description you could say, this is the same product as this. If you clicked on it from Google, we were just sold out of that at the moment. So that people don't get super confused and like, well, I clicked on this with 500 treats, and then now I'm going to one that has like 200. So, alright, let's just move on. Check which pages allow indexing. Just because your pages are crawlable doesn't mean they're indexable. Marketers need to make sure their page robots.txt allow for indexing. If a page is not indexed by search, okay, I mean, That's basically what Google does. They make sure your site is indexed, and so that it's crawlable. I don't really know much else to say about that. Improve page experience. People, slow loading pages. That is the biggest thing, and that's why up here I have page speed insights, so that I can click that and put in the URL immediately, and get. So basically, when I finish optimizing any page, home page, category, subcategory, product, I then go put it into the page speed insights, make sure none of the optimization has. Say we added an image, we want to make sure that that image isn't causing that page to load really slowly. And if it is, then we need to maybe run it through TinyPNG and re-upload it, what have you, make it a smaller file size. The image will still be the same size, it won't be blurry, but we cut out some of the extra maybe coding and stuff in that file image that allows it to load more quickly without degrading any quality or the size or anything like that. There a lot of times there's not a lot you can do for a slow loading page. That's why what I recommend is for each page that you do a page speed insight audit on, you also Google some of the keywords that page is targeting. Grab some of your competition from page one, run page speed insights on their pages as well. And if yours are similar, then it just is what it is. Even if it's in the 20s, there's a company where the pages require a lot of images, content, interactive things, and to compete in that industry. And there was nothing we could do for their technical speed really, because anything they were there at like 14 or 20 or something like that, but so was their competition. I think the best site I saw in that industry was like 24, and we kept all the stuff, and they ended up ranking on page one. So that's, I mean, sometimes there's nothing you can really do with the page speed, but optimize technical structure, some happening. But there are some things like maybe a junk code. If you're on WordPress, you have some plugins that load really slowly. You may need to update the plugin, or maybe get a newer plugin if this one doesn't have an update or anything like that. If you're a lot of stuff, if you're on a platform like BigCommerce or Shopify, there's not much you're going to be able to do on slow loading pages. Just being honest with you. So if you don't fix your technical foundation, your content and keyword investments are not going to get the return that you expected. Yeah, I mean, that's like putting new updates on your car, but not filling it up with gas. You're not going to go anywhere. The necessity of technical SEO. I hope that at least through my explanation, I don't have to read this, that you've been able to grasp the necessity of technical SEO. So I'm not going to read that, and if you need help, you can reach out further, and let's see what else we can do. Let's just do SEO 2022 and just see kind of what pulls up here. 6 hours ago, SEO trends from B2B. I don't want to limit this stream to B2B. An hour ago, yeah, but I don't really know that site's trustworthy, so... Here we go, Search Engine Journal. Okay, so this came out like Tuesday, after the Monday stream. And if these streams get more and more popular, obviously I would do them more and more, but it's, again, just like you all know as business owners, it's all opportunity cost when it comes to time. So it looks like they have a webinar possibly to register for. Alright. That's a pretty good tactic, though. You put the sign up for the webinar above a blog that people are going to want to read. Alright, so let's... Oh, April 13th. Moderate. Oh, okay. We presented how the data was collected. I mean, it's Search Engine Journal. I'm not worried about how it was collected. They're reputable. Marketers cite positive trends. Again, I mean... Okay. Marketers cited positive trends. Positive changes from budget to so basically they're saying the more you put into SEO, the more you're going to get out of it. Well, marketing, they're saying, I guess. No, organic. This is SEO specific, yes. Alright. Organic marketing programs had an increased impact on website performance. 90% of companies with high organic maturity saw at least a 5% increase. So that's actually pretty good. Companies are investing more in organic marketing budgets. Overall marketing budget, 12% of... Alright, let's see here. Okay, so... Is this saying 12% in overall marketing budgets increased by 25%? And then 13% of paid budget increased by 25%? And 20%, so 1/5 of companies, their organic ad budget increased. So that's what I've been talking about, where SEO is just getting more and more expensive simply because of the time that it takes, because of the increased competition. People, if you're not doing SEO, I don't know how you think you're going to succeed, to be honest. I don't know. It perplexes me that people think they can have a successful e-commerce website and not have a decent SEO budget. So I get clients all the time coming to me saying, well, I have these websites, these companies sending me these SEO audits, and there's all this stuff that's not done. I'm like, yeah, it's because you're paying for me to do about 2 to 5 hours of SEO a month. And it takes a heck of a lot longer than that to optimize, because I also have to use some of that time to do some of the analytics checking, the rankings checking, the providing them with how things are going and things like that. And to know how things are going, I have to put time into that. So really, if you're doing less than 5 hours, you're getting your time cut in half. So really, if you're not spending at least $1,000 a month on SEO, it's probably not going to be as successful as you hope. And even that is, at first, getting it done. I'm not saying in maintenance mode, I'm saying getting it done, because you're not going to get a lot of SEO done. I have a client who, she's great. Don't get me wrong. This is not a person who, she understands that she has a low budget. She understands that it's taking a long time. But it took us almost 2 years to get her to start ranking for stuff, because she was doing 5 hours a month. And she has thousands of product, highly competitive industry, and it finally kicked in January, and I was so excited to come tell her. So, don't get me wrong, it's not worthless to only have a few hours a month, but you're not gonna get what you, and because she started so long ago, she's able to see it now. If she was starting now with that same budget, it'd probably take twice as long, because especially after 2020, it's more and more impacted on industries across the board. Even PPC is seeing an average of 25 to 35% increase in cost per click values. So I get a lot of clients who are for PPC, and they have they're wondering why they're getting the same revenue on an increased ad spend, or why their ad spend is decreasing to keep the revenue. And I have to tell them, look, if you kept doing it the way you were before, and I didn't come in and clean things up and stuff like that, your ROI would be even worse. And unfortunately, there is no would be worse sort of metric. I can't go back in time, not do it, and then transport that dimension data into here and say, look, I got you this ROI. It would have been way lower if I didn't even keep. So all they're seeing is an increase in ad budget and maybe getting the same revenue. And I'm like, yeah, I stopped you from losing that money. They're still getting a decent ROI. Just everyone always wants to, and you should do this. I'm not saying don't do it, but and they're comparing it to last year, and then I just have to come to them and be like, look, that's just the nature of things now. You have to, the cost per clicks. Yes, you were getting 40 cents a click for this product that costs $5, and you were getting a really good ROI on that. But now it's over $1, so that's over twice as much, and now it's 20% of the product price, And so that's where you're not even seeing the rep. So, and they're not raising their prices with the cost of their advertising as well. So there's just a lot of stuff outside of our control that that organic can really help with. Um, More executives are starting to see the value of organic marketing. uh, yeah, hopefully. 86% of organizations with higher organic expect their budgets to increase over the next 12 months. So people who are already spending a lot of money and they're getting a lot of good rankings and stuff, they're actually looking to increase their budget toward it. They're not looking to decrease it once it starts working. Once it starts working, they're looking to increase it. And that is how you run a successful business. The buy-in is crucial for unlocking SEO potential. This is where I'm talking about. Yeah, it costs a lot of money to get your site optimized, but once you do, should be able to go for a much more cost-effective rate going forward. The growing importance of digital is driving positive expectations. About 3/4 of respondents anticipate a positive shift in goals, productivity, headcount, and budget. Marketers don't have to keep fighting for organic marketing buy-in. More enterprises are starting to realize that. So, basically, marketers like us, we're not having to fight for tooth and nail to get new clients because people just need our services. The people who want to be successful know what they need, and they know that so then they come to us, have a conversation with us, realize we know what we're talking about, and then they will pay us to do it. So more and more the marketers are not, and then that's also going to lead to increase in pricing. But we're not going to randomly come to you and be like, oh, our prices are such and such higher. So it just doesn't work like that, at least for us. Let's see, companies. Okay, so people whose SEO are not working, they only work with the professionals 32% of the time, versus 94%. Not listen to that. If you are not working with an SEO professional, you are gonna fall into the 32%. I'm sorry, you're gonna fall into the 68% of people who have the low maturity level that do not work with SEO professionals. So, as opposed to 94% who have the high maturity work with an SEO professional. So, let's see. It's evident why SEO requests take some time for these organizations. Customer needs is essential to discover the ball. Yes, that is why it takes also so long. We discover your bottlenecks. We figure out how to get things done faster for you and tell you where exactly we can help. And so that's why we also, if you request an audit or something, I can get you the audit fairly quickly. But then to get you the actual plan of action, it might take 1 or 2 phone calls. It might take a couple weeks. We just signed a client, but it took several hours of phone calls and stuff over a couple weeks, getting things fine-tuned, telling them, like, getting information from them, and then I go do my thing, and then I come back and provide it to them, and they have comments or questions or concerns, and then I go back do more research so that I can quell those and let them know how exactly the plan I'm going to do to fix that issue. More education, yeah, more and more research. In-house organic marketing drives higher performance versus outsourcing. In-house organic efforts drove 12% more website traffic than fully outsourced effort. No one has the same depth understanding of your business priority as an enhanced in-house resource does. So, if you have, and this is probably not what most people in an agency would say, SEO Journal is not an SEO agency, really. Yeah, most of their stuff is just kind of informational, and then they get their money from ads and stuff. But if you have the money, it's very expensive to hire someone in-house. And then you have to pay for them to learn SEO as well. it's very rare that you're going to find someone in your industry that knows SEO that's not going to charge you $300 an hour. Plus, you're going to own them in-house really means that they're an employee. Otherwise, you are outsourcing it if they're a 1099. And so that's very rare. But it is the best. However, that is why it is important for you to have a couple phone calls a week, or not a week, a couple phone calls a month with your SEO person. Or if they want to send you some keyword research results to get your, like, okay, so say I do some keyword research, right? And there's some keywords, and I do a quick Google search and figure out, oh, these are just way too competitive. And then I finally develop the keywords that I think have the highest search volume relative to the amount of competition that there is, and that we can optimize for it. And I think that we should go for this term, and this term. Well, they might come back and say, that's great, but you know what? These particular products have a higher margin for us. So let's go for this specific variant of that broad search key term that has fewer searches, and might have a little more competition, but it's going to get us more revenue once it starts kicking in. So there's a collaboration in there, and especially with the content. I am writing my content based on an SEO perspective. It is then the collaboration that allows us to morph that into a customer friendly. You get to bring your industry expertise into it. You get to bring your own voice to it and things like that. I mean, everyone has their own voice, so no single SEO copywriter is going to be able to write content that's going to 100% work on your website. Now, there can be for people who just, if there's not much really to be said about things, and yeah, they go, you just read it and they go, you know what, that sounds great. But then there's other industries where a little bit more flowery language or more jargon or vernacular related to that particular industry is necessary, that may need to get worked in, and it would be more time efficient for them, and also cost effective, because if they can spend a half hour of their time on it as opposed to me spending 2 hours on researching and figuring out what certain words mean in your industry and things like that, and ideas and concepts. I mean, it's just, there's so much that can be done in collaboration. Fully integrated SEO platform. I mean, I just saw collaboration here in the next one, and I wanted to. So yeah, just collaboration can actually be more cost effective than an organic marketer in-house. So that's one way to get around how much it would cost to have someone in-house versus outsourcing. So outsourcing is definitely cheaper. Because again, if you have an in-house employee, you got to pay taxes on them, maybe give them benefits, and then they're going to have their days off, things like that, vacation time, all that stuff. So it is actually cheaper to outsource if you're willing to spend your time to collaborate with them. SEO technology enables robust tracking, implementation, and collaboration, and that is one of the reasons why we were so successful on BigCommerce, because they don't require a lot of programming. Therefore, we can pass those savings on to you. We don't have, if I develop the title tags and stuff like that, and the content, I can actually do the formatting, the editing, the image optimization, like a lot of that stuff I could just kind of do in their fields. I don't have to go writing code and finding a particular line where something needs to be done and things like that. So you can so having a fully integrated SEO platform, which BigCommerce is, will allow you to save a lot of time and money when it comes to optimizing your website. And then they have their outlook for 2022. Collaboration and implementation are top priority. Of course, collaborate. I mean, I think my rant for collaboration was long enough, and make sure you implement it. And then team priorities tend to reflect how they execute SEO. And so basically that's just going to mean that those calls that you and I have at the beginning about maybe you have certain products that you want to push and other products that I was working with another company, and they didn't want to push a particular product because really it was a loss for them. But most people who bought other products from them also bought those. So they didn't want them to go to someone else where they could get everything all in one spot. So that's where kind of how you execute the SEO is based on your team needs. Digital advertising UX investments are increasingly important. Key takeaways: organizations with a higher level of organic maturity were more resilient overall. So the more you did SEO, the more you were resilient against COVID. Unfortunately, a lot of people pulled their SEO, and they fell and they had to play catch up. 70% in-house organic efforts drove 12% more traffic than fully outsourced efforts. Fully outsourced is the key word, because fully outsourced means that we are not collaborating on keywords. We are not. It's basically you and I never talking and me just sending you a report. Obviously, if I can get some feedback from you on how the writing is in your industry, the keywords that are working the best for you, or that you would like the best. And also, another reason that that's helpful is because you may have certain keywords that you think you want to rank for. I can come back and tell you no one searches that. You're going to waste your time on that. And then you're going to wonder why your SEO isn't working. Well, because you didn't do any keyword research to figure out that term's not searched. So it goes back and forth. 70% organization organic marketing budget. So if you're not looking to increase your organic marketing budget in 22, you are actually in the minority. The top 3 strategic channels for digital marketing users are digital advertising, website user experience, content marketing. So digital advertising, you have obviously the PPC and stuff like that. But you're not going to convert on those PPC landing pages if they're not well optimized. Website user experience is that technical SEO stuff, and content marketing. They really didn't touch upon any of that stuff throughout this article. That's kind of strange that they would mention that. That's not a takeaway from this article. It could just be something you want to add in at the end, but okay. Building more effective collaboration between SEOs and others in organizations. Top priority for both leaders. Digital marketing 2022. Yes, and actually that is happening with us as well. More and more people are willing to spend their time talking to me on the phone. A lot more people are requiring it. They want to get me on the phone a lot more, which I love, because that makes my job. It makes, when I have to report things, I don't want to say it makes my job easier, but it does make it easier in a sense that the results are going to work more when I get collaboration from you. So when I send you the report, your rankings are going to have increased higher. Your traffic's going to have increased higher. Your conversion rates, your revenue, all that stuff's going to have increased higher because we had that collaboration. So there you go. I went over those 3 articles. So I hope that you enjoyed this hour-long live stream, and if you're watching it back, I hope that you appreciate this information and that it is useful. And if it is not, then maybe you're just that good of an SEO. You should do that as opposed to your e-commerce. So yeah, thanks again for checking it out. Don't forget, VisionCourseMedia.com. And you can sign up for our newsletter so that you can see when we're going live. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good YouTube things. And I will see you next Monday. And I believe that will be the first live show of May. And, well, actually, is it going to be? No, May the 4th is Wednesday. So Star Wars Day is Wednesday. So it'll be May 2nd. I'll see you then. Have a great week. And best of luck with your SEO and digital marketing efforts. Bye.